A title for your dignity. This article was written by saying uncategorized, and I'm not so sure who wrote it, but my God, isn't it a beautiful article? So the article is Meghan Markle's self-respect was never for sale. This was incomprehensible to the Windsors, who have traded every ounce of dignity for their privilege. So they are saying they just ignore everything because they want to live in the big palaces, they want to do this, no fight back, right? The Windsors simply cannot comprehend why being alone to be one of them isn't enough for the more modern women they marry. Why it isn't enough to endure all other humiliations. Do you seriously expect me to be the first Prince of Wales in history not to have a mistress? Gripe an incredulous Charles when the subject of his infidelities with the also married Camilla Parker Bowles was raised. To the Windsors, being the British royal family makes up for an ill treatment, the most unkind or bizarre, some might call it abusive, behavior can be justified because they get to be royal. Charles could be greeted with a cold handshake from his parents after weeks of not seeing them. Margaret could be told who she should, could, and couldn't be in love with. Diana and Sarah Ferguson could have their weight and size discussed critically by the media. Harry's girlfriends could have their phones tapped. Well, they were royal adjacent, so the paps it was still so to the paps it was still justified. Children could be put to work to enhance the monarchy's image from the day they were born. Diana could be chased through Paris to her death and photographed rather than helped as she lay dying. For a woman like Meghan Markle, these kinds of humiliations in exchange for wealth, fame, and privilege were a step too far. She had of course already achieved her own wealth and fame without allowing herself to be debased on a daily basis. When a tabloid newspaper published excerpt of a private letter to Meghan's father, she sued. When the entire British media published a transcript of Charles's famous tampon call with his mistress, he accepted the humiliation without complaint. The Windsor family would have every sexual fetish exposed, their intimate phone calls immortalized online for all time, be lectured by tabloid hacks of all people on morality, stage fake trips to rehab, have their topless photos and toe-sucking snaps poured over at every breakfast table, and be blackmailed by the media into giving up every more dignity if it means retaining their titles and privilege for a few more years. If they ever do stop to think about the field marsh they are swimming in, it's only to plot how to push a relative in deeper. That's so many people and the monarchy itself view this degradation as a normal part of being in the British royal family is astonishing to the rest of the world that the Windsor accept and counseled Harry to accept. These debasements was naturally beyond Meghan's understanding because Meghan's self-respect was never for sale, and Harry always knew that his dignity as a man shouldn't be for sale either. He always wanted out of the humiliating system. Finding a partner and ally in Meghan gave him the support and strength to break free, spurred on, of course, by the pressing need to remove his wife and son to a place of safety and away from the racist abuse of the tabloid press and commentators. Turns out, Harry's self-respect wasn't for sale either. how it feels for the other members of the Windsor family to watch the so called spare live a life of dignity and be reminded daily of how completely they have traded away theirs. One can only imagine. So, this, guys, is extremely important. It's a beautiful article. And as they're saying, Meghan's self respect was much more important to her than being in a gilded cage and being awed and wowed by the palace. When in fact, Meghan and Harry are right now living a better life. They're in their own mansion, they're doing what they want to do, living their best life. So it's always good to be true to yourself. And what they don't understand is that none of this fascinated Meghan because she had her own. She had her own from the start, right? She was able to craft her own life prior to even meeting Harry, right? So she was not fascinated by the whole monarchy thing, and especially how they were treating them to be less than. They decided this was not something that was ideal and this was something that they didn't want. So this article fully explains the hatred towards Meghan because she went in and she was like, I am out. I really am not impressed with any of this. And I want to live my life and create my own life for me and my family. And she's told them no. She told them no. How dare? How dare you said no, Meghan? You should just accept it. But what they have forgotten is that when you look at Frogmore compared to Montecito, Meghan and Harry's life is much better. They're doing much better. They're looking good. They're living their lives, their best lives. And they're doing it outside of the palace. They're doing it outside. And the palace is realizing that Britain and the palaces and the UK is not all it's cracked up to be, because one woman went in and said, I am not interested, and they don't like that. But yes, this article is so great, It's just really talking about what Meghan would not put up with. And isn't it a beautiful article? My goodness, Meghan Markle's self-respect was never for sale. It really was not. So great article. Guys, please don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you never miss a beat. Bye.